I want to give a serious warning. If you play No Sleep for Kaname Date, you likely will be staying up until 3 a.m. and getting no sleep because the game is so addicting. And now you know why it got its title. Seriously, I stayed up really late playing this because I was so addicted and obsessed with it for a little bit. So let's talk about why I love the game and see if you'll like it too. No Sleep for Kaname Date is the third entry in the Somnium Files series, which is a really fun puzzle detective like mystery visual novel game that I personally loved. I did a review for it a while back. And it is by Kotaro Uchikoshi, I hope I got his name right, who you guys might know as the creator of the Zero Escape series, which I also really, really loved. It is currently available on Switch, Switch 2, and Steam, and it is published by Spike Chunsoft, who I want to thank so much for gifting me a review code for the Switch version, which I will be reviewing and talking about today. As I mentioned, I loved the first game in the series, the Somnium Files. I loved the Zero Escape games. I have not played the second game in the series, Nirvana Initiative, but I definitely will be after this. I just got busy when that game came out, and now I kind of see more of what I was missing and what I love so much about these games. The two previous games in the series had gameplay divided into two elements, which were investigations and somnium. So, like, investigations were more like visual novel kind of segments where you would talk to characters, ask questions, explore environments, and somniums, which were really what made the past two games more unique, were segments where you got to explore people's dreams and figure out the mystery that way, which is really, really cool. This game adds a element that I really hope that they continue for future games in the series, which are escapes. And it's basically just like an escape room kind of game segment. If you played Zero Escape, like that's basically what this is. You will notice a lot of the same mechanics, even the same like sound effects and like visual effects. It was honestly really great for me as somebody who loved those games, and I love escape rooms, I love puzzles. If that sounds like you will love this game. So let's break it down into different aspects of it, like the story, characters, the gameplay itself, and I'll talk about what I liked and what I didn't like. No Sleep for Kaname Date is set shortly after the events of the Somnium Files, which is the first game in the series. Even though it's set right after, it's definitely more of like a spin-off kind of side story. And that's, reflected in just the depth of the story and how it plays out. And I want to let you guys know, you do not have to play the first two games to understand, enjoy the game at all. The developers do a great job of giving you all the necessary information without even spoiling the previous games, even though they have pretty much like all the same characters or like a lot of like characters that come back in it. I have a horrible memory. So at the beginning of this game, they ask you a question that you would know if you had finished the Somnium Files. I answered that question incorrectly. So I had the experience of someone playing the game who has like zero prior knowledge of anything, and it does do a good job of filling you in. And if you answer that question correctly because you've played the games and you have memory and think, it will kind of tailor your experience to you, which I think that's honestly such a cool feature, and I wish other games would include this. So to clarify, you do not have to play the Somnium Files or Nirvana Initiative to enjoy, understand anything in this game. Like I said, they do a really great job of providing context. However, if you played those games and you're a fan of the series, this will be a very rewarding game to play because they visit a lot of the same characters and locations, and it's just really fun to spend time with these characters if you've played both of those games before.
Ah, someone must be fantasizing about me, huh?
They are more likely to be cursing you behind your back.
Hello? Date!
I love the cast and characters from the Somnium Files already, so I was really happy to see them return. Date comes back as our main protagonist, and you get to control him, and he is, for those of you guys that don't know, he is a detective and he's just really funny. I love playing as him, and he's just fun and funny, and the way that he interacts with other characters just throughout the entire game it's just fun. And then Iris comes back as a character that you can control, and so does Ota and the escape segments.
Hey, what happened between us that night?
Oh, I'm not telling you for free. That info is worth at least 10,000 yen.
Iva, lend me that.
No.
There are two new characters exclusive to this game. Hina, who is a sync operator, and Akemi, who is this, like, reptilian, alien, escape game host. I love both of their designs and characters, and they're featured really prominently throughout the story. The characters really stand out the most, and they're just like witty banter, their dialogue, and just overall kind of back and forth little moments, whether it's during the investigations, the escape games, the Somniums. There's a lot of pop culture references, and I personally love that, and just funny moments that I think really bring the characters alive.
Fall asleep at the wheel again, and I will take the opportunity to draw on your face.
Despite that, I felt like a lot of the characters remained very static and didn't really go through any growth or change. They are three-dimensional characters, I think, when the story starts, but I would have liked to see a little bit more depth added to the older characters from previous games instead of just focusing on the new characters, because I think those are the only ones that are given any real depth and development and growth as characters and people, which I think is kind of a disservice to the interesting world, characters, and story that is introduced. Like I mentioned, though, this is a spin-off title, so I could see why they wouldn't want to potentially change something with existing characters, and it's also not directed by the creator of the first two games in the series. So I could kind of understand why they wouldn't want to maybe mess with existing characters, but still, nonetheless, I felt a little disappointed that I didn't get to see much more depth to them. Despite that, I really did enjoy the overall story. When you start the game, you're immediately put in there, and you get to play as Iris as she's stuck in this, like, alien escape room that's, like, on another planet, and just being able to go and, like, walk around and have time to just explore and, like, question things and just immediately be, like, put into that mystery was really great. And it's interesting to see just how, like, the story slowly kind of changed and shifted as it progressed. The mystery is the central focus of this game and of, like, previous games in the series, and I definitely felt, like, engaged. I was, like, kind of constantly trying to figure out, okay, where is this going, because there were quite a few plot twists, but nothing kind of as crazy or as major in previous games. And I definitely felt like the tone of this story was a lot lighter. In the first game, I really felt like things were very, like, high stakes, and it felt like your decisions and your choices mattered. Here, it just kind of felt like things were going to be okay. And that's a little bit different than what I was expecting. I don't think it's necessarily bad. I think especially for a spin-off game, I think it's fine, but I would have just preferred to have the stakes up a little bit, because I feel like you can still keep a lighthearted kind of game, but still have some weight to it. Still feel like your decisions have consequences. I think that would draw me into the story a lot more. There were some interesting themes explored, like AI and human relationships, which is especially relevant now, and has always been relevant with this series, because your partner as a detective is literally an AI eyeball. But I think that it could have been done with more depth, potentially. So overall, while I like the story, I definitely found myself wanting more, so I really, really hope that they do another full-fledged game in the future. Previous games in the series had featured a branching story with multiple endings and like a flowchart to kind of go back and then replay and be able to get all the endings to finally unlock the true ending. A lot of games have this feature and I love it. Like one game I played recently that I love, Detroit Become Human. It's very similar to that with a flowchart. I was kind of disappointed because No Sleep for Kaname Date did not have that. It's a pretty linear game that just has alternate kind of joke endings, which were fun. I got one of them like really early on and I just immediately like lit up and smiled because it's fun. It's funny. I like that the game doesn't take itself too seriously. But I wish we would have had multiple endings again. I thought that was kind of disappointing. You do have the flowchart so you can replay parts easily, but as far as gameplay and story, that was one element I was missing. The gameplay itself, though, I really enjoyed. Like I mentioned, there are 3 different segments, like the investigations, the somniums, and the escapes. I feel like out of those 3, the investigations in this game definitely were the weakest. Like, I enjoyed being able to go and talk with all the characters from past games that kind of popped up for a little bit. But I felt overall like it was a little bit inconsequential in terms of the story. I, rarely kind of uncovered anything big during those segments. And it just felt a little like filler compared to the other parts of the story, the escapes and the somniums that moved things forward and had more cutscenes and just felt more consequential. That being said, the Somnium sequence were really fun and unique. Again, just like fun kind of pop culture references, really cool designs. Some of them do revisit past locations, so I kind of wish it would have like branched out and showed new places. But again, still really cool. I love the whole concept of the Somniums, of being able to like look into somebody's dreams and their past memories. I love that. That's part of the reason why I loved the first game, so I'm glad that they kept that and they expanded it. What was really a highlight for me, though, and the reason that I really enjoyed this game, were the escape game segments. I had so much fun, and it was just great to kind of be able to solve the puzzles and be mostly untimed and just kind of be able to explore, check out all the options, and then also have to like really think. I played on like, I think, easy difficulty. There's a lot of difficulty options, and I found myself having to like pull out my phone and like take notes to solve the puzzles, which I love doing. I think it feels so much more rewarding when you actually have to like think for a bit and try to figure out what's going on. And especially for like a detective kind of game, this was a perfect fit. I'm so glad they added them. I played this on easy difficulty. And the nice thing is there are a lot of difficulty options and you can change that whenever, which was really great and I think made it accessible if you just want to play for the story and you don't want to have to kind of like worry about segments being timed or missing a quick time event and having to replay something. Or if you want it more challenging, then you can have it be more challenging and not have like, as many clues and things like that. During the escape game puzzles, I did find myself stuck a couple of times, but anytime I did, I was able to lower the difficulty if I wanted to and then get some clues and figure it out from there. As I mentioned before, I really love the art style for this game. Like, the character designs are so fun, and just like the art style in general, and especially in segments like the Somniums where it's a little more creative, it really does shine. That being said, it's not like going to be the most high graphic game that you've seen. Like, that's not what it's trying to be. That's not what it should be. I don't want a hyper realistic No Sleep for Kaname Date. I love the anime kind of manga art style, and I think it works for the game. As I mentioned before, I played on the Switch, primarily in handheld, and besides some like loading screens, which were honestly on par with other Switch games I played, I didn't have any tech issues or anything, and it ran really smoothly and looked pretty good, especially for handheld on Switch. I give No Sleep for Kaname Date 4 out of 5 eyeballs. I did enjoy the Somnium Files a little bit more, but I still really love this, and especially for a spin-off game, I think it's anything that a fan of the series would want, or anybody that just likes escape games, visual novels, puzzles, anything like that. It took me about 15 hours, which I think is a good length for any game. Just especially now if you're busy with work or school and you just want something a little bit shorter to play, this would be perfect. If you played the previous games and enjoyed them, if you played Zero Escape and enjoyed it, or if you like Ace Attorney, Danganronpa, Your Turn to Die, or any other kind of puzzle, detective, visual novel game, you will love No Sleep for Kaname Date. I would be shocked if you didn't. And if you just want to be less like yourself and more like me, then play this game, because I enjoyed it. And if you are completely new to the series, I would recommend playing the games in the order they came out, especially if you have more time and you want to play more games, because I feel like No Sleep for Kaname Date definitely is a spin-off kind of geared towards fans of the series that already know and love these characters and just want to see more of them. Like, there's an entire like bonus segment of just additional scenes and like little almost kind of like just visual novel kind of extra moments that are great for people that already love these characters. And it's hard to say how I would like view it if I didn't already have that experience. If you have any questions about the game, be sure to drop it in the comments below and I will do my best to answer. And thank you so much again to Spike Chunsoft for gifting me a review copy of this game. I definitely will be playing Nirvana Initiative yet, because I cannot believe I have not played that, because it's just literally like one of my favorite games sequel. So I'll be checking that out soon and hopefully reviewing it. I am Chloe, aka Bukure, and I hope you all have a great day.